Come on. This is gonna be my Mondays.
I've been thinking about death a lot. The process of dying, slow, painful dying, quick and painless dying, murder, suicide, tragic accidents, and statewide genocide. Just the concept of life itself ending. My life's been spent looking at other lives ending. The first time I saw someone dead in my family was 2014. My great grandmother died of old age in her sleep. After 9 years of her gone, I have to remind myself that she truly did exist, and the memories that play in my head aren't just of a random old woman that I made up in my dreams. I sometimes think about a friend who I lost back in 2021, how I was just getting to know them and getting closer to them, and one day, they just killed themselves. Shot to the head, self-inflicted. I can't really put my thoughts on death into words, it just hurts when I think about it, and for some reason, it keeps making me think about what's going to happen when I die. I play video games a lot to distract myself from life around me, and I recently noticed how much games themselves revolve around dying, how I die, and what happens after. It allows me to talk about what I couldn't explain prior, and this time, it's helping me think about dying. Celeste is a difficult platformer with pretty simple movement. The standard experience for me was dying repeatedly as I jumped and dashed from one surface to another to move on to the next level, which would probably make me die even more. Every time I failed a jump, mistimed a dash, or accidentally restarted the level, which has happened to me multiple times before, I died. It just takes a second and then I respawn. I fail at something simple and I try again. It doesn't really mean anything when I die, because I don't actually lose a lot of progress. I have died 18,000 times in Celeste. When I played it for the first time, I started off with a stubborn mindset and I did everything I could to not die in the early game. My teenage gamer brain couldn't handle the fact that maybe I was just bad at video games, and I couldn't help but look at my death count as a sign of my failures. But the more I played, Celeste did more to help me realize that failing and dying isn't really a bad thing. I started to purposefully play through certain parts of a room with a relaxed hand, allowing myself to make dumb mistakes and try again and again, so that the game became a less stressful experience overall, instead of metaphorically banging my head into a wall and wondering why it wouldn't break down. After all of this, doesn't this mean that dying in Celeste means nothing to me? After all, if I've experienced it 18,000 times, I should be used to it, right? Well, after beating the 8th chapter's B-side, the game gave me an optional collectible: golden berries. You're supposed to collect them at the start of the level, and they don't count until you beat the entire chapter without dying. God damn it. The first time I beat Celeste, it took me 8,000 deaths and 8 hours. 6,000 extra deaths came from playing secret levels and playing the normal chapters again and again, and the rest came from the golden berries. I want to make something very clear. Celeste wasn't designed to be played and mastered in one shot like this. You are meant to rely on dying and practicing over and over. You are meant to trudge through the game's levels and finish with a sense of love for the pain and suffering that struggle brings you. But once you grab the golden berry, it is much more harsh. Deaths are real obstacles now. If I died at the beginning, middle, or end of a chapter, I was brought back to the start again. I failed, and I didn't stumble, I fell. I wouldn't waste a second on my deaths anymore. I could potentially waste minutes or even hours of perfection to a small mistake. Every death now carried real weight and real stakes. The more I pushed forward, the more I was afraid. A game I used to play for comfort now made me feel like I was unsafe with every step I took. Now that my video game death meant something real, I was afraid. Afraid of death. A few weeks ago, when I visited a mall with my friend, I walked past a tattoo parlor and he asked me what tattoo I would get if I had the money for it. I wanted to give myself a golden berry on my arm, reminding myself that I'm still living the one life that I've been given. In-game, the golden berry follows you wherever you go, and when you die, it floats back to the beginning, detaching itself from you. I think I wanted the berry on my arm so I can feel like no matter what I'm doing, if that berry is still by my side, I haven't failed yet. I'm still good. At least I hope I'm doing good. I want to quickly touch on Minecraft's hardcore mode. One thing most Minecraft players agree on is that hardcore mode is the scariest non-horror game you will ever touch. It's permadeath. Monsters can creep up on you at any time and can kill you with no fault of your own. It is an incredibly unfair way to experience the game, but it is the most realistic way to play Minecraft. You might think, hey, isn't this the same as Celeste's Golden Berry mode? And you would be right, but Celeste is a platformer with pre-made levels. Minecraft is completely different and unique every time you start it up. When you die in hardcore, you don't come back to the world. You aren't allowed to interact with it again. Once you die, you have to live with the consequences. And now, I want to talk about those consequences. After you die in hardcore mode, the game's respawn button is replaced with a spectate world button. You are now a ghost. You can wander around in the world you've spent your time in and look at your impact while you were alive and how the world works without you. If you're playing in a multiplayer world, you can follow your friends and see what they're doing without you. Some people believe that the afterlife works just like this. When you die, you either move on to a higher plane or your spirit wanders the earth, doomed to observe your closest friends and family, unable to tell them that you're still around, watching how people function without you in their lives anymore. Is it good? Bad? Do people actually miss you? It's a bit eerie now that I think about it. Minecraft lets us experience this on such a micro level. I think emotionally it helps people know what it feels like, how it would feel to be a ghost, to not feel afraid of the inevitable. When you die, your world isn't ripped away from you, it's just barely out of reach, and that feels like it's enough. If you're playing on an older version of Minecraft though, a death in hardcore mode is much more real, much more pessimistic. You are forced to delete your world. You cannot look back at your memories, you cannot spectate your friends as a ghost. You lived, you died, you are not meant to be here anymore. Your time is up, you are dead. The final moments of your life have passed. You cannot return. It is time for you to go. I played hardcore mode once before as a kid and I died in the first hour. All that did to my kid brain was tell me that this was unfair and it sucked. I played Minecraft very recklessly and I used to die a lot just to respawn again because it didn't actively matter back then. It takes one click to come back like nothing happened. Dying in Minecraft was more of a tactic than a setback. I think that's why the concept of hardcore mode itself makes me shudder now that I'm older. I don't want to lose everything I've worked on, and I don't want to lose the memories I've made with my world, my friends, all of it turning to dust and meaning nothing. I look around myself in the real world and realize I don't want it all to turn to dust. I don't want to delete my memories. When you launch in Stars and Time for the first time, it drops you at the end of a conventional RPG. You're already at level 45, and you already have every party member unlocked, like you've loaded up a finished save file just before a final boss. As you travel through the castle leading up to said boss, you die unexpectedly, and like any other game, you start over. But as the intro plays again, you notice something different. Your character wakes up and knows that they died. This is a time loop. This character is Siffrin, our protagonist stuck in a Groundhog Day loop of their own, doomed to repeat their day from the moment the game starts every time that they die. Everyone else is blissfully unaware. As you play the game properly this time around, you'll be stuck and unable to progress forward because you forgot a key somewhere. Thank heavens, you can just kill yourself and take the key on the next time around. It's ironic, the concept of having to kill yourself to make sure you live longer, and before you know it, you reach the final boss of the game. Siffrin's under the belief that killing the final obstacle in their journey is the key to getting out of this time loop. And once it's done, it still loops. No matter what they do, if they die, survive, anything, they will go back to when the game started, and each time it happens, it hurts. We have to remind ourselves after discussing death for so long that death is a painful process, violent death especially being one of the worst ways to go out, and Siffrin has had to experience death so many times we can barely even count. I see a lot of myself in Siffrin. He gets upset at himself over small things, he cares deeply for the people around him, but he never actually makes it known to his friends. He'd rather pretend in front of them, make sure that they don't worry about him too much. Throughout the game, as Siffrin degrades mentally, there's a moment where Siffrin breaks down and treats his friends like shit, insulting them and berating them for their insecurities. None of them are at fault, in fact they are completely blindsided by how different Siffrin is acting here, because for them, it's out of nowhere. Why today? But for Siffrin, it's been swelling up inside for a long time. All of his mental struggles and weeks and months of the loops occurring over and over with no solution in sight were eventually going to break Siffrin down, and at the end, Siffrin is mentally dead, and he is replaced with a monster created from his inner turmoil. The entire game might have you dying over and over again, but throughout the plot, Siffrin's been undergoing an agonizingly slow death. the death of himself. This is where I feel the closest to Siffrin. I might not have died in real life, and I won't for a long time, but I have died mentally in the past, multiple times. The person I was in 2020 is gone and has been for a while. The person I was back in 2023 has been gone too. The person I was a few months ago is dead. I've had to change who I was as a person to fit in, to make sure the people around me were happy, and just like Siffrin, I've ruined my reputation in some of these circles too. Had a breakdown because I wanted everything around me fixed, and I let those negative emotions take over me, turning me into a worse person. In games, Siffrin is so used to dying that they think of killing themselves as the only option sometimes. The difference between me and him is, I don't want to do that anymore. I haven't failed yet, and I don't want to fail now. I still don't know what I feel about death. I know it's coming and I know that's how life ends, but I still don't think I'm ready for it. I love and hate death. I accept death but still do everything I can to avoid it. I look death straight in the eyes when I encounter it and look away when it asks for my attention. Death is a lot of things to me. Permanence, identity loss, finality, but at least through games I can work with those feelings, make them easier to digest somehow. With Minecraft, I can spend more time making memories for myself, making sure that my life is filled with moments that I can happily look back on. With Instars and Time, I can remind myself that I can break the cycle and become the best me I can be. And with Celeste, I know that I'm still doing good. I haven't failed yet. I will live. I can barely put my thoughts into words, but somehow I've written 2,000 of them. And when I die, people will write even more for me.